I've been feeling so down, yeah. Can you tell me why? Can you tell me why I'm down, yeah? No friends of mine around.
Working on the vlog?
I am! How did you know?
Might have caught the June blues, yeah, I wanna drown myself inside the juice, yeah, you know I keep on running from the truth.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? I just got back from class. It is a Thursday night, and I thought it would be a good time to film a video about study tips and how to study in college the most effectively. Also, exciting news, I think I'll be starting a new series called Study Break. So essentially what this series will be, it'll be kind of like a discussion forum for any types of questions that you guys might have for me, or for anything that I like to share about my life or about college life in general that you guys might find interesting. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this series. So yeah, look forward to that. Alright, so ironically, the first study break video will be about studying. I would like to take this time to kind of go through studying strategies, and hopefully this will be helpful to you guys. So you've probably heard the motto of working smarter versus working harder, and I think this definitely applies to studying as well. Whereas in the ideal world you can work smarter and harder at the same time, it definitely is very helpful if you have specific strategies that help you to work smart or study smart, rather than kind of grinding your way through material and grinding your way through studying strategies that might not be the most effective. So the following studying strategies will be based on my own personal experience, which means that it might not work for everyone, but I just like to share these tips that might be helpful to you based on what I've learned over these past years. If you look on Google or any other search engine, you'll probably find a lot of tips on what the scientifically supported way to study the best is, and definitely since studies have been done on these things, they are probably pretty reliable. But make sure you remember that you don't have to have the same study techniques as your best friend, as someone you see on YouTube, as anyone you know, because everyone's mind works differently. So I took some notes for you guys that I'm excited to share. So the first technique that you probably already heard of is handwriting notes rather than typing notes. Personally, I have found that handwriting notes is helpful for me, even if when I am handwriting notes it is messier than it would be if I typed them. I feel like that messiness is something that actually helps me visually remember what I'm writing. Not only because the act of writing notes helps me to remember, but because of the fact that I can kind of format the notes in whatever way that I want. So when I'm typing notes, it's line by line by line. But when I'm writing notes, the first time through, I like to write down my notes as much as I can. And then when I'm going through it the second time, we're kind of just revisiting the ideas, I like to circle and draw arrows and kind of draw points of connections and things like that. And I sometimes even take notes on my notes. And it's hard to do that when there's a Word doc. You can comment and you can highlight and everything, but for me, I think it is easier, more time effective to just handwrite them. Also, during class, you might have the tendency to try to write down every single word that your teacher or professor is saying, but really that leads to a lot of hand cramping and just like not very effective use of your time. So wait for your professor or teacher to finish the sentence and then write down the main words, the key words in each sentence, or the key words for each concept that you're learning, and that might be more helpful to you to reduce the amount of stress that you might feel in kind of writing down everything, and also might reduce your hand cramping as well. Also, just another note about handwriting notes. Although I do try my best to be neat, neatness isn't the number one priority. I think even when notes aren't very neat in a certain way, it actually maybe like the formatting of that messiness or that unstructuredness really is a structure in and of itself. I don't know if that makes sense. When I take notes, it doesn't really matter to me personally whether the notes look beautiful or not. I know a lot of my friends, they keep a lot of bullet journals and they keep a lot of very aesthetically pleasing materials that they can look back on, and that helps them remember. but for me, it takes too much time to do that. Alright, moving on to the next point. So just as different people require different studying strategies, I also need different studying strategies for different subjects. So for example, for STEM subjects, for things like calculus or physics, I prefer to do lots of practice questions. I look through the lecture notes if there are lecture notes available, or look through my own handwritten notes, and then I go to the textbook and I do the assigned problems. And I try to do all of them, the ones that are assigned, because all of them are probably relevant for learning the concept and really mastering the idea. So for humanities classes, I actually like to use a more, I don't know if you would say this is quantitative, but use a more chronological viewpoint to view things. So for example, if I am in my philosophy class or if I am in my literature class, I like to have a basic understanding of the historical significance and historical background and lay out a chronology of events that are happening that lead up to this particular piece of text being produced. So that really helps me to understand how the themes and ideas laid out in the book relate to what is happening at that period at which the book is being produced. Alright, so I don't know if this is strange, if it's just me or if it's for other people too. I realized that when I do STEM problems, I like to put on some background music and work on my problem sets. But when I was reading for my literature humanities class last year, I actually really enjoyed reading in the dining halls because of the background noise that was there. So like an ambient noise that consisted of a lot of chattering and like a lot of chit chat and a lot of conversations that kind of melded together, and it helped me bring my mind into the zone of reading well for that class. But somehow for my philosophy class this year, I enjoy doing the readings in my room or in the library in a quiet space. So that's kind of weird, right? I don't know, I find that kind of weird that even for different types of texts, I like to read in different environments. I don't know if that holds true for other people. Let me know in the comments below if that does, or if I sound weird. But maybe try that out, maybe that'll work for you. Alright, so this one is really important, and it is to keep the big picture in mind. Always. A lot of times when we are studying here in school, in college, in high school, in any type of academic setting, and the focus is really, unfortunately, too much on grades rather than on actual learning. So I think that taking a step back, realizing the importance of the information that you're learning, whether that be a very practical application of, for example, if you are an engineer and you're using calculus, or whether you are looking to enter academia in literature or in English or any type of field really, and you're learning the basics of that field, you see that imminent presence and the imminent need for that knowledge. But for example, if you are only taking a class to fulfill a requirement, you might not be able to see the immediate need for this knowledge that you're gaining at the moment. So it's really important to put everything in context. And one of my professors, well, a lot of my professors, but one specific example of when my professor really helped me to achieve that is in one of my other core classes last year. It is a writing class, and my professor in that class really tied in the importance of writing, not only in that one field, but also in fields like medicine, like sports, like pop culture, even art. Basically anything you can think of, there is a relation to writing. So that is super, super important to keep in mind. And even if your professor maybe doesn't bring that idea of tying everything to the bigger picture to the forefront because of the way the class is structured, you can find that for yourself and you can help to motivate yourself, because this motivation helps you to get into a better mindset overall, and it'll make you a happier studier. Trust me. Please, please, please take everything that I just said with a grain of salt. It's important to learn your own limits, right? Because everybody is different. Everybody studies in a different way. So for example, if a lot of your friends like to study in groups and you are more of an individual studier, don't feel pressured to join their group in the library just because everyone else is doing it. Make sure you know what kind of student you are. Prioritize what you need to prioritize. On the other hand, if you find that all of your friends like to study alone, but you're the only one who kind of likes a more collaborative environment, don't be afraid to seek out other resources as well, because there are other students who also enjoy forming these groups and studying and learning together. So it really depends on the situation and what your preference is. And also this one is kind of something that really depends on your own person as well. It is whether you enjoy studying early in the morning, midday, at night, or very late at night. I feel the need to address this because a lot of people, myself included, have varying sleep schedules based on the day because of classes and schedules and everything. So it's important to learn at what time point of the day you are the most ready to absorb information, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, and one last point. Sleep, physical health, mental health should be super important in your life. So you definitely need to make sure you are getting enough nutrition, you are getting enough exercise, enough fresh air, enough sleep, as I said, in order to achieve maximum productivity and just maximum happiness and energy in your life. So for example, if you know that you are the type of person who can't function on less than 7 hours of sleep, make sure you are prioritizing getting those 7 hours of sleep at night, whether that means going to sleep early and waking up early, maybe even taking power naps throughout the day. That also really helps. It really kind of brightens your day, the rest of the day up, so you can get everything you need to get done. Also, I was doing some research online and I found out that physical activity actually helps a lot with studying and with mental retention. So if you need to get out of your room, you need to get out of the library and run, do some cardio, do some push-ups, do some jumping jacks or some strength training, go for it, because who knows, that might help you study better even. So make sure you're taking care of yourselves first and foremost. That is super important, and I hope you remember that. So yeah, hopefully these study techniques are helpful to you guys. Please let me know down in the comments below if they sound familiar, or if they're new, or if there's something that you'd like to try out. And also, as always, please let me know if you guys want me to talk about any other subjects on this channel, or show you guys more details about anything that I mentioned, or even just like any cool ideas that you guys want to see on the channel. And as always, please like and subscribe if you have not already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!
Why you gotta go? Why you gotta go? I just wanna know now, true now. Cry and get no, hope you free your soul, I might